I don't know what was that, but howdy guys. How are you guys doing today? We have a hell of an interesting reaction. We're gonna talk about Turkey, the country of Turkey, of course. It's a video from the YouTuber H0ser. We had an entire stream of his a few days or weeks ago. So if you want to watch that, I'll have the links in the description. And talking about the description, you can go check out my Skillshare links. I would really appreciate if you do, maybe check them out, maybe join Skillshare using my link. I would really appreciate it if you do. Also, like the video, subscribe, all of that, it really helps. We are about to hit that's right, 2,000 subscribers. That's awesome. So I would really appreciate it if you help me get to that number this year at least. Let's hit it next month. Let's hit 2,000 for March. I think that's dope. All right, we can take the hat off. Woo! Time to talk about Turkey. The video is Turkey has the most uncertain future. I really wonder why. I guess for a few things, you don't really know if Turkey is gonna have some big relevance in the world stage or not. If Turkey is gonna become like a regional power. There's a lot of things that are very mysterious about Turkey. Yeah.
Neymiş efendim? Türklüğümüzü yaşayamayacakmışız. Neymiş? Türklüğümüzde gurur duymayacakmışız. Ulan soysuzlar, ulan vatan hainleri. Siz görüyor musunuz lan benim Türklüğümü nasıl yaşadığımı? Ahlaksızlar, şerefsiz.
Holy shit, what the fuck? We are starting strong, my man. That's a car full of Turkish flags. Very proud, my dude, right here.
Türklüğümüzü yaşayamayacakmışız. Neymiş? Türklüğümüzde gurur duymayacakmışız.
Yeah,
ulan
yeah.
soysuzlar, ulan vatan hainleri. Siz görüyor musunuz lan benim Türklüğümü nasıl yaşadığımı? Ahlaksız.
Go teach them, Hasan. And look, there's Ataturk being sad, no, this is not what I wanted, boy.
Şerefsizler. Yürü gidin lan.
Before I get into this video was brought to you
how
by
you make an
NordVPN.
intro.
NordVPN is the biggest VPN to
NordVPN,
comments for an 30-day money-back guarantee.
Average NordVPN user, and we have a Giga Chat and the Turkish Giga Chat,
If you sum code in my description or protect your spelled like this, home to many of the world. This is Turkey, now spelled like this. Home to many of the world's ancient and modern superpowers.
That's also a thing now. Turkey spelled like that. What do you guys think about
Romans,
that?
Byzantines, Persians, and Ottomans all centered their empires
The
in
Anatolian
one way or another
Peninsula.
around the Anatolian Peninsula, which makes up modern-day Turkey. Turkey is a mysterious country to the west and to the east as well. Modern-day Turkey acts as a middleman between the neighboring realms of Europe, Russia, and the Middle East. It's for this reason where it's quite hard to predict how Turkey will evolve and who its friends will be in the future.
It's funny because, and here's my opinion, okay, just an opinion, but despite Turkey being the gateway from Asia to Europe to the Middle East to the Caucasus, right? It's very isolated. I don't feel we hear a lot about Turkey, right? When we hear about the European Union, we never hear about Turkey. Obviously, when we hear about the Middle East, we rarely hear about Turkey. When we talk about Asia, we don't really hear about Turkey. So despite being very close to a lot of places, right, being this gateway between Asia and Europe, we don't really get to hear a lot about Turkey. So, very isolated despite the fact that they're very close to
After all, Turkey is allied to
a lot of
the West
civilizations.
now, but seems to be slipping away every day, pushing closer to less Western nations. It's somewhat of a meme that Turkey will end up as a great superpower one day, but recent economic and political turmoil has put that into question. Turkey is notoriously hard to predict, but still,
So
what
silly,
is
bro.
the future of Turkey? To start to understand Turkey, you must first look at its geography. The shape of Turkey is, as you can see, a rectangle. It's a little symbolic of the direction trade and goods have flowed throughout Turkey historically, if you use your imagination. What is not in our imagination, though, is when you zoom out, you can see who the trade flowed by. On Turkey's west is Europe, and on its east is the Middle East, South Asia, and way out there, China. Turkey's position as the middle of the Middle East has historically made them the middleman in global trade, like during the Silk Road era, and as the middleman, it is easy to get rich and expand your influence outwards. Something else though has made it fairly easy to expand outwards: the physical makeup of this peninsula. A topographic map of the region shows Turkey is bounded on its east by the Armenian highlands, with the Pontic Mountains to the north and the Taurus Mountains on its south. Along with the Black Sea, Aegean Sea, and Mediterranean Sea surrounding it, this leaves Turkey in an extremely defendable position with a hilly, semi-arid interior to build a civilization. Of course, this also means if any invaders can break through the natural defenses, it's pretty easy to take the rest of the country, which has happened plenty of times throughout history. This essentially leaves only two parts of Turkey open to an attack: the southeastern part of Anatolia, where the Tigris and Euphrates rivers create a pocket of flat land outside of the mountains by neighboring Syria, and Thrace, the region of Turkey considered to be European, separated from the Anatolian peninsula. Although, the border is somewhat defendable by the Meriç River, so at least there's that. It is cut off by the Sea of Marmara and Bosphorus Strait, isolating it from the mainland Turkey. The nearby sea and flatland does make it some of the best agricultural land in the nation though, turning the weakness into one of Turkey's most productive areas. You can see by looking at this map of its density, there are so many Turks crowded around the Sea of Marmara. It makes sense.
Yeah,
since
okay.
there are
Let's look at this map again. So this is where Ankara is. Of course, this is the Istanbul metropolitan area. So a lot of people, it would make sense. This is probably what, for all you guys Turks in the comments, this is suburbs or smaller cities close to Istanbul. This is where Izmir is. My mom went to Izmir a few years ago. And other than that, I don't really know some of these places.
So many Turks crowded around the Sea of Marmara.
Izmir.
It makes
Izmir?
sense,
How do you
as
pronounce
a
that?
place on Earth that connects both Asia and Europe and the Black Sea and Mediterranean Seas, and has a natural strait running through it, it makes a city which is placed there likely the best placed city on Earth. This has proven to be the case, 15 million people can tell you, as Istanbul, currently sitting in its place, is the largest city in Europe or the Middle East, depending on where you put it. Essentially, whoever was in control of this city could control trade between the entire region and make themselves a world power. This is a power Turkey has not forgotten. Geography has blessed Turkey into making it a trade-based world power, and it has worked multiple times in the past. Can modern Turkey live up to the former rulers of Anatolia? It's important to remember that Turkey and the Turks living there are not an ancient people group. There were ancient cultures in Turkey, and it's very likely the first civilization on Earth sprung up in modern-day Turkey, but the Turks who live there and their culture is only around 1,000 years old, which sounds like a long time.
1,000 years old. Yeah, that's not that much. We're talking about the Ottoman Turks, maybe, or are we talking about the Goat Turks?
But Turkey has a 10,000-year-old history, so the latest owners are fairly new. And it's important to note this because unlike in neighboring Greece, whose people have lived there since the ancient era,
Be careful
people
with this,
living in ancient
bruh.
Turkey were replaced multiple times. Let's go through some of the replacements that have happened through Anatolian history. The first recorded peoples who lived in Anatolia were the Hattians and Hurrians, eventually replaced by the Hittites in 2000 BC. The southeastern Hittites were pushed out by the Assyrians, rivaled by the
Assyrian
Kingdom
Empire,
of Van to the
of
north.
course.
The Phrygians replaced the Hittites in 1200 BC, followed by the Sumerians in 700 BC. It was around this time when the Greeks settled the western coast of Anatolia. Persia decided to invade in the 6th
Are there still a lot of Greeks in Turkey? I'd be really curious to know. Are there any
BC,
Greek
followed by a
communities?
fight by the Greeks, and later Alexander the Great conquered the peninsula. Anatolia was turned Greek and was the first major area Christianity spread to under Roman rule.
Yo, yikes.
Later, Rome split in two, with the eastern half becoming the Byzantine Empire centered around the peninsula. This lasted until the 11th century. The
Byzantines,
Byzantines
yeah.
were eventually weakened by constant fighting with the Muslim world, and in a fairly
Sassanids?
swift migration, the Seljuk Turks came into Anatolia.
Seljuk
It was
Turks.
now when Turkey turned Turkish and changed from the Christian to the Muslim world. The Seljuks were then destroyed by the Mongols, who just wanted to conquer everything in their way.
The
And out of
universe.
rubble
The
came a bunch
entire
of small
universe, bruh.
Turkish kingdoms. One in particular, the Ottomans, began
Ottomans.
growing and growing until it was quite large. Once the Ottomans took Constantinople, now Istanbul, in 1453, they cemented their place as a world power. The Ottomans exerted control over the Middle East, North Africa, the Caucasus, the Balkans, and much of Eastern Europe. The Ottomans reached their peak around the late 1700s and then began to decline.
It's so
Modernization
fucking
efforts were
big.
tried, but they couldn't stop its fall. It didn't officially end until they ended up on the
World
wrong
War
side of
One.
World War I and were officially split up along arbitrary lines. While the peninsula was controlled by the Allied powers, a Turkish national movement headed by a man named
Ataturk!
Ataturk successfully drove away Allied forces through
I
a war
love
of
the Ataturk, bro.
independence.
He's,
Ataturk became the first president of the new Republic of Turkey and liberalized the nation.
which also so interesting. You know, blonde hair. He looks like he has blonde hair, blue eyes.
A secular and modern state.
That's not what you
Since
imagine
then,
when
there have
you
been a
imagine
couple of
someone from
coups,
Turkey, you
dealing
know?
with terrorists, the joining of NATO, and a liberalization of the economy to grow closer to Europe, which brings us to the modern day. I know that this is an extremely broad history of Turkey, however it deals with 4,000 years.
If you guys don't know, I made a reaction to all the parts of Crowd's series on Turkey. That's, you know, each of those videos is like over an hour long, and we literally go through the entire history of Turkey. So if you'd like to see that, if that's like a thing you would love to see, I'll get links in descriptions or in my channel.
Years of history. What it shows, though, is that the Anatolian Peninsula has
You know,
been
just if you're
replaced before
interested.
by multiple people groups. I'm not saying that it will happen again, but I am saying that Turkey has historically been vulnerable. Why should that change? If the geography shows that Turkey is destined to be a major world
Ouch.
power, and its history shows that its power comes in waves, what do its people and economy show? Turkey currently has 85 million residents, yet by 2060 that number will grow to 97 million and then start falling. This is a
Damn.
decent growth. 12 million in 40 years will not put too much stress on the country and will likely
Nice.
not destabilize the country. The new people will make new jobs, new production, and new money to turn Turkey into a major regional power if it already isn't today. And with a median age of 31.5 years old,
All right.
Turkey is neither too young nor too old to make significant gains within the next couple decades.
Very productive
But it
country.
is worth noting that Turkey's growth is not even. The fertility rate in the east is much, much higher than that of the west. This is because the west is more urbanized and
Yeah, we watched this on Crowd's videos, right? Is it Western, the more Middle Eastern part of Turkey, right? More Muslim, more conservative. Again, it's not really surprising that they have a higher fertility rate. Or the part that's closer to Europe, right? Probably more urbanized, a lot more liberal, has lower fertility rates. Again, I don't think that's very surprising.
developed in the east, and it will be a focus of Turkey to balance the development throughout the country in the coming decades. Having an eastward population growth wouldn't be too bad, as it is the least populated region of Turkey. However, there is a problem. The east is not full of Turks. It is inhabited by Kurds. The Kurds are a large non-Turkish ethnic group making up around 10% of the total population, mostly concentrated in the east. For many
Poggers.
years, the Kurds have fought for independence from Turkey, and for years, Turkey has denied it. It is absolutely not in Turkey's favor to lose a huge chunk of their country, especially in its most naturally defended part. But as the population of the east grows, so too will Kurdish separatism, likely resulting in even more turmoil in the east than there already is. It is uncertain whether
Not
this growth in
poggers.
population will boost the Turkish economy or cause political upheaval. It will probably end up being a combination of both. And the economy of Turkey sure looks like it needs a boost too. In general, the Turkish economy has grown at a tremendously fast rate, but in the past decade has fallen quite dramatically. Let's take a
Wow.
look at the overall economy first though. Turkey has the 20th largest economy on earth with a GDP of around 800 billion US dollars or around $10,000 per capita.
Respectable.
It is a newly industrialized country and an emerging market to foreign powers. 21% of the labor force, though, still works in agriculture, consisting of only 7.5% of GDP. Whereas
Wow.
the other 80% of people and 93% of the economy is made up of industry and services. In particular, manufacturing plays a key role in the development of Turkey, making
Missiles.
products like
Damn.
automobiles, trains, defense products, and steel. Construction has also been a big part of the nation's economy. But services account for most of the economy, mostly made up of finance, communication, tourism, and transportation. After all, they do link the west and east together. They might as well transport their goods too. Yet, in recent years, this economy has been in decline. During the last decade, its GDP growth rate has fallen from around 7% to 1 or 2%.
Yeah, this is a massive problem. 7%, that's a really, really high rate of growth. 1%, for a country like Turkey, that's like still maybe considered a developing country. It should be much higher than
And that
1%.
was before the pandemic. Although
Oh,
the GDP didn't actually fall during the initial wave of COVID like many other nations did, it was still much lower than what the nation had seen.
right.
The migrant crisis of Syrian refugees fleeing from the
That's
Syrian
another
civil
one.
war first caused economic panic in Turkey. Turkey had and still has the most refugees out of any nation on earth living in it, and
Jesus.
they needed to integrate around 3.6 million Syrians into Turkish society, or at least keep them in until Syria became stable again.
Wow, that is around 5% of the Turkish population. So 1 in 20 people in Turkey, at least at the time, I don't know now, but was a Syrian refugee. Wow.
The wave of refugees coming in caused economic slowdown as they needed housing, food, and jobs for them. This caused an initial rise in the Turkish unemployment rate that has continued to rise to this day.
13%.
Turkey figured it out with the help of a deal made by the EU, and now only 2.5% of Syrian refugees still live in refugee camps.
Right. Cool.
The other big economic crisis is a political one. The Turkish lira, the national currency of Turkey, has lost its value at a crazy rate. 10 years ago, $1 was worth about 2 Turkish liras. As of January of 2022, $1 is worth about 14
Wow.
liras. That's a 7 times increase in only 10 years, and it has caused the country to panic. Along with the other issues of falling GDP and rising unemployment, the falling currency rate is causing inflation to rise, borrowing costs to go up, and it's becoming much more common for people to
I mean, most of us are still are dealing with inflation, right?
default on their debts. When a currency is depreciated, the best thing to do is to raise their interest rates on borrowing money so people will take out less loans. However, Turkey doesn't do that. Instead, Turkey has actually lowered interest rates from 19% to 14%, causing this crisis to blow
Yikes.
up even more than it should have. And the Turkish government seems to double down on this policy,
Oop,
firing
are
many
the
top
one?
officials who try to raise interest rates or report statistics to show the problem. It's unclear whether Turkey will continue to take the low interest method and keep having its economy essentially be ruined, or whether Turkey will raise the interest rates and try to resume their tremendously fast growing economic status. Let's summarize so far. Turkish geography is good, Turkish history is iffy, its demographics are great other than a certain part, and its economy was doing amazing until the last
now
decade.
it's-
But we still have one more thing to talk about. Turkey's friends, or partners, allies, enemies.
Now, this is gonna be a doozy one because a lot of Europe don't seem to be very friendly to I mean, particularly Greece and a lot of the Balkans. I guess places like Germany are kind of friendly. They're getting kind of friendly with Russia too, which is interesting considering the context. Although Turkey is also a big U.S. ally, at least has been historical, right? They joined NATO, and that part where they are getting closer to Iran, it looks a little bit like Turkey's playing a little bit both sides,
And neighbors. Turkey is at the crossroads between the energy-rich East, areas like Arabia, Iran, and Russia, and the major consumer markets of the West, mainly Europe. Its primary strategy going into the future will almost certainly be trying to balance its relationships between
Yep.
these two sides in order to keep doing business with both sides and hopefully become more than just a regional power. It's working on mega projects like the Nabucco pipeline to physically transport energy from the East to European markets, and political projects with the EU, Russia, and Middle Eastern nations. Currently, Turkey is in NATO and has a free trade agreement with the European Union. This makes Turkey
Nice.
officially a Western ally. However, it seems like every year Turkey is distancing itself from the West. For instance, it has bought Russian weapons at a time when Russia had just invaded Crimea and started to project power into the Black Sea.
That is not a
near
great
Turkey.
look, though.
It has beefed numerous times with another NATO state, Greece, even destroying some Greek ships and planes, and has always been the odd one out in the alliance, being the only Muslim Middle Eastern nation in NATO. Turkey still wants to keep ties with NATO though, officially condemning Russian interest in the Black Sea and upholding the NATO quota on defense spending. Tensions with Russia have also risen, being on opposite sides of recent wars like the Syrian Civil War and Nagorno-Karabakh War. Despite this and some other hostile skirmishes, Russia is still one of Turkey's largest trading partners and has signed a defense deal with Turkey. So it might seem like Turkey is getting further and further away from NATO, but in reality it is likely them trying to find more friends in the region for business purposes. And its Middle Eastern relations fluctuate even more than its European relationships do. As a Western ally, Turkey is affiliated with Israel. This has strained ties with many Islamic nations who see Israel as oppressing the Palestinian people. The main tie it has strained was Saudi Arabia's, who used to be a Turkish friend. Their alliance with Israel, along with strains from the Arab Spring and Syrian war, has caused their relationship to sour. But money must be made, and Saudi Arabian oil still flows through Turkey to get to European markets, resulting in a half-enemy, half-partner relationship between the two nations. With Iran, the relationship is much smoother. Even though Iran condemns Turkey for allying with Israel, they seem to have the same foreign policy plans for the region. Both nations technically condemn US and Israeli intervention, want to see a weakened Saudi Arabia, and are large trading partners with each other.
That's interesting, you know, because we saw some of the tense relations that the Ottomans had with the people of Persia or Iran. But it's good that, I guess it's good they have good relations.
Turkey's
maybe.
Shifting alliances are a sign that Turkey is trying to balance itself between
Yeah,
old allies to the west.
like I said, it looks like they're trying to play both sides, and I don't know how people, the EU, Russia, Iran, they're gonna like that.
Allies to the east, or at least a sign that no alliance is permanent to Turkey.
Probably not gonna like that, like I said.
To make it on their own. Turkey is a country which has one of the most unpredictable futures on Earth. Its geography creates a shell around which a bountiful nation can form, but its history shows that numerous different people groups have broken that barrier. Its demographics show a nation about to rise to prominence, while its economy shows a stagnating country about to fall out of power, and its foreign relations are the result of all of this mishmash in the Turkish system. Turkey itself does not know which way it wants to go.
Playing
All
both
it knows
sides.
is it wants to be the middleman of the world. Turkey can make itself a successful regional power. All they have to do is leverage their position between the West and the East. But if Turkey truly wants to become a global power, then maybe it's time to stop sitting back and make a Turkish strategy.
Oh, damn. That was pretty cool, though. I really, really, really enjoyed this video. And if you enjoyed this reaction, don't forget to let me know in the comments. You can also like, share, and subscribe to the video. But you don't subscribe to videos, you subscribe to the channel. Either way, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys being here, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.